Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Pop Talk. I am your host, Sean. We got a lot of interesting things we're going to talk about today, and then we'll also kind of jump into our WandaVision preview, which, as we talk, WandaVision is going to premiere in less than a week. So, looking forward to that. My green screen looks really, really weird now. All of a sudden, I don't know why. Joining me today, Bogz. How's it going? Across the
Yes,
pond.
very good, sir. Yes, across the pun, indeed. Yeah, I'm very good. We've obviously dropped. We had the high ground episode, the latest episode where we ranked the Star Wars Rebels episodes. Check that out. But yeah, apart from that, I'm good. I have a brand new T-shirt that I've ordered. Nice. And if I can model the back, if you don't mind. Miyagi Do
Miyagi Do.
Yes. Screw them Cobra Kai losers. But yeah,
Dang.
lyrics all the way.
Those are
Yeah,
some fighting words, Boggs.
exactly. So
You might have
yes,
to go. You might have to go to the All Valley to defend those words.
yeah. I wish. But yeah, this is just off the back of that. Watched obviously the Cobra Kai season 3 breakdown as well. But yeah, pleasure to be back with you guys. Talking. We've got a few stories today, and yeah, it's miss you guys, of course.
Yeah, I am down there in Miami. So how's it
Hello,
going, so?
hello. Very good. We our garden is becoming successful outside, so we got some baby tomatoes and some baby squashes and some baby peppers. So I'm super excited that something that I help create, I'm bringing life into the world through plants.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with
Nice.
that. I don't know why my green screen just really just went wonky. It
You
was
look like
fine
you're in the
all the way.
center of the sun, and
Yeah,
it, it, it's
I
kind of a cool effect. I think I'm digging it.
I don't know. It's weird, but it was fine before we started recording. I don't know what happened. Anyways, uh, who cares? Anyways, let's hop right into the first kind of stories, couple of stories, and then we'll jump into our WandaVision. It's starting to fix itself. I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, so first thing, the Dexter revival at Showtime has cast Clancy Brown in a major role, which is basically he's going to be the season's big bad. So if you guys aren't familiar with Dexter, it was a show on Showtime here in America. Obviously for Bogz, it was on Sky, where the main character is. It's based on a book. The main character Dexter, he's a serial killer with a twist where he only really kills other serial killers and other bad guys. So it ran for 8 seasons. The finale was not its best, but there's a story about of how that came about because without spoiling it, the showrunners at the time wanted to kill Dexter in the last episode, and Showtime did not because they foreseen or foresaw that they'd want to revisit the character down the road, so they want to have that opportunity or capability to do so. So they told the showrunners, "You can do whatever you want to him, you just can't kill him." So I mean, that's where a lot of the distaste and controversy came out with the series finale at the time, where people thought that he maybe should have died or they should have done something different, what have you. But me knowing that then, I was just like, yeah, they're coming. They're gonna revisit this at some point, and now we're at that point. So to hear Clancy Brown get cast as the big bad, I'm looking forward to because I'm a big Clancy Brown fan. So you've seen Dexter. What is your excitement level of hearing that A, the show's coming back, and B, they have cast Clancy Brown as the big bad for this revival season?
So I've only seen up to, and Sean was helping me earlier. It's season 4, the John Lithgow season, which is an amazing season. That I think probably the best season of Dexter is that John Lithgow season. But I have not seen the finale. I've heard of what goes down, but I don't really. I can't speak on it because I haven't seen it, and so I kind of like my excitement is a little temperate on this revival. Obviously, Clancy Brown being a part of it brings it up a little bit more, but I'm just, yeah, I'll probably check it out. I think my dad's more excited about it than I am because he did see the entirety of Dexter and he has read the books. So this is one of those times where I'm going to say I did not read the books on this. I can't pull it from my shelf out for you, Bogz.
She'd be like, "Wait a second,
Well, check this magazine or
it's
comic.
right here." Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited because since the John Lithgow season, I don't think without spoiling anything, Dexter has had like a big bad that is as has much screen presence where you can actually like this guy is going to be tough for Dexter to go up against as John Lithgow since that season. So now having him go up against Clancy Brown, where he's basically his character is playing like a trucker and he's a beloved trucker. So he's kind of usually a lot of Dexter's villains are like hiding in plain sight, just like kind of he was, or where they had this outer persona of where like you think they're this, but they're really that. So it's really going to be interesting to see how he, without spoiling anything, how Dexter gets roped back into that kind of life based on where we leave him, which I don't want to spoil for you two. But Boggs, you haven't seen Dexter, but I know you're a fan of Clancy Brown. So what do you think of him joining this show?
Yeah, that's where the main story is for me. Like, I love this guy. Like, he's one of the best character actors, any kind of, especially in a kind of villain role. And just overall, the guy has just a really stellar career on and off screen. Off screen meaning his voiceover work. Numerous characters. He's absolutely amazing. With one of the best voice actors of all time, I would actually put him in that category, along with maybe Mark Hamill. But yeah, his on-screen stuff obviously is fantastic. He's a great villain and stuff. So yes, I'm happy with that. I would just wish he worked more overall. Like his whenever he does, I do see him appear, that kind of thing. He's always fascinating. So yes, that's where the story is for me. Obviously with Dexter, I haven't seen the whole thing. Seen odd episodes here and there. Never, not as much as a fan of you guys. As you guys are, but yeah, I did remember hearing that people weren't happy with the finale, so I'm glad for people they can get a better finale now. But overall, yes, he is the man, one of the most underrated actors around. So yes, I'm happy that you guys, like you Dexter fans, will get a good finale, hopefully with a good villain. Yes, they got the right guy for it, definitely.
Yeah, Clancy Brown is like I think one of my best of performances he's done it was play Lex Luthor in Superman the animated series into Justice League. Like his voice that he brought to Lex Luthor. Like when I see Lex Luthor now, I think of Clancy Brown voice. Like that's how what he sounds like to me. The same way like the Joker sounds like Mark Hamill to me, and just like Batman sounds like Kevin Conroy to me. So I think he's just imprinted his voice on that character. Now, like when I hear the joke, Lex Luthor, I want Clancy Brown to play him because that's what Lex Luthor sounds like to me. So again, just hearing his voice on this show is enough. Like I don't have to like look at him. I can just hear his voice and know exactly who that is. So I'm really, really looking forward to it because without I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but just knowing where the show leaves off, and we're picking up 8 years later to see where Dexter is at this point in his life, to see how he kind of gets roped back into his old ways is going to be very, very interesting. So I'm really looking forward to this show. They're gonna start shooting it sometime this year, so hopefully we probably might get it late 2021, maybe early 2022, depending upon things. They haven't really announced how many episodes it's going to be. So
is it the same guy? Same Dexter? What's his name? Michael Hall? Is
it Michael C. Hall? Yeah. So you mean this guy?
The same actor? Because I think he had some health problems, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, he did have cancer while they were shooting Dexter, which went into remission. He's also done. He was on the show 6 Feet Under before that. It's funny. He went from 6 Feet Under, which he shot on HBO, to Dexter, and he was shooting it all pretty much like in the same studio. So it was like at the same studio for like 13 years, something ridiculous like that in a row. Because so yeah, Michael C. Hall is a great actor. He doesn't work as much as he should because he's an amazing, amazing talent. Any thoughts on Michael C. Hall? So
I just I liked him as Dexter. He was phenomenal in the role, and I'm glad that he's coming back. He's a great actor.
yeah, I mean, he's one. Dexter was one of the shows that like had the villain as the hero, where like in any other series, I'd be rooting against this guy. Like he's the villain, but he's like the perfect anti-hero. It's like him and Tony Soprano in The Sopranos, where in any other circumstances you'd be rooting against them, but the show has you rooting for him. And the fact that he's killing serial killers is an interesting twist on him being a serial killer himself. And the fact that he kind of has to hide that life from like his girlfriend and his sister and his coworkers, and him always getting almost caught but not really, and like without
Question.
spoiling
So,
any. Yeah.
what does he? I forgot. What's his profession in the series?
So during the season, he was a blood splatter analyst for the Miami Metro Police Department.
Okay.
So when a crime scene would happen, he would go in and analyze the blood to kind of figure out, what actually occurred in the crime scene.
So he can
And
kind of
that's
like
how
cover up his own trucks, kind of thing.
and that's how he would find some of his victims would be because he
Yeah.
worked for the Miami PD. If it was someone who was a serial killer or someone who was a child predator or any of those things, he would find out through the cases and then he would take them out himself instead of letting it go
Got
through
it.
the law.
Got it.
Or sometimes if they skirted the law, that's where he would step in. Sometimes he would help them skirt the law, so he could get it himself.
I see, I see.
That has happened, and he's also had to clean up his own messes. So his dad, who was a cop, kind of trained him without kind of spoiling why Dexter does what he does. Trained his son to kind of figure out like how to. He gave him
Not
some
get caught.
rules that he needs to follow, like to go about his life
To have a moral
so he could
code.
kill. Yeah, to have a code where he could kill, but kill in a productive way, for lack of a better term.
Say a lot of bodies in the Atlantic Ocean from this show.
Yes, yes, yes. So it's a very interesting concept, and the first season is him just kind of finding out more about his own backstory, because he has an interesting backstory himself of why he is the way he is. And the first season really kind of dives into that a lot, and then so it's a very, very interesting show. The first four seasons are amazing, and obviously John Lithgow was the main bad in the fourth season, where that's the peak of the show, is that season. And like I said, they haven't had a big bad as good as that since. And I think maybe now Clancy Brown will probably be hopefully on that level with John Lithgow. And who was in season 3? I can't remember his name.
It's been so long since I watched.
Jimmy
But
Smith.
funny-
Jimmy Smith.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smith.
Funny coincidence. Both Michael C. Hall and Clancy Brown have been in The Crown playing U.S. presidents. Clancy Brown playing Lyndon B. Johnson, and Michael C. Hall playing President John F. Kennedy. So they're going from presidents back to Dexter.
Yeah, I don't know why Michael C. Hall hasn't gotten more work. He's just amazing. I loved it in 6 Feet Under too. So I don't know why he hasn't gotten a lot of film roles. Well, obviously he couldn't, because for a while he was doing Dexter and 6 Feet Under. But since those shows have ended, he hasn't been on the big screen a lot. I don't know if that's a choice, or because I know he's done a lot of Broadway work too. So I don't know. But I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully we learn more. Can't wait for the trailer to come out. Waiting to see if some interesting of the characters that come back. So I'm really, really excited for this show. All right, moving on. So our next story, and then we'll get into WandaVision, because that's going to be the bulk of our conversation, is the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie has landed a writer. So we still don't know a lot about the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie, only that Kathleen Kennedy said that Kevin Feige is going to be doing a Star Wars movie. So it's interesting that now with the direction Star Wars is going in now, well, obviously we know we're getting the Patty Jenkins Rogue Squadron movie. We're getting Kevin Feige's movie, which is now moving in the right direction, and we're getting the Taika Waititi movie. So they're pivoted pretty well from the sequel trilogy onto these movies. So curious to hear, Bogz. I think you're a Star Wars fan. I'm not quite sure. So what are your thoughts on the Kevin Feige Star Wars movie, and then the writer that they landed to write it?
Yes, writer's name is Michael Waldron. He's the creator of the Loki series. He also wrote Doctor Strange's series that will be dropping on Disney Plus as well. And obviously Kevin Feige set to produce this. Yes, we don't know what it's about, the movie. We don't know when it's going to be released or really anything about it. But the thing is now, I mean, I'm just happy that Kevin Feige is involved. I think he's one of the best producers of all time. So bringing that MCU kind of flavor into Star Wars, doing that kind of cross genre or interconnection, and bringing it with the whole streaming service into the movie kind of space, and the whole kind of state of the art technology stuff, and basically just doing the whole connectivity. I can't wait for that. But I think that maybe it may also have some kind of connectivity with Kathy Jenkins, maybe Taika Waititi, maybe his thing might be a trilogy potentially, and maybe his one is like the start of like a new era, maybe forward in the timeline, because obviously rumors are Kathy Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie is after the Rise of Skywalker. So if that's true, then maybe Taika's one maybe after that, or it could be before, but they could do like a time thing. I don't know, time jump thing. Who knows? And obviously Feige's one might be the end culmination of that trilogy, and then maybe kind of set a new era in Star Wars with a series or whatever. But yeah, that kind of thing. So because that he is so intelligent with he's aware of the whole internet space. He's aware of the kind of what people want. They take that all into consideration, kind of thing. So and obviously have respect for the what's come before, whether it's comic books, whether it's previous movies, whether it's the lore and mythology. They've got all that kind of boxed basically. So the way that he needs to come into Star Wars sooner, in my opinion. So yeah, next steps is I'm looking forward to what it's going to be about, when, direction, starring, that kind of thing. So yeah, so definitely looking forward to it, very excited, but need a bit more information for me to get my teeth into it. But yes, definitely. I don't 100% know too much of Michael Watson, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, he's got a lot of stuff dropping this year, so we'll see what that is. And they must like him, because obviously they've given him 2 Disney Plus series. They're keeping him in the Disney family. So I'm assuming they're going to tie him up to do other projects as well. So yes, positives. But yes, I'm definitely looking forward to what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, so he was the executive producer on the Loki series, and he wrote Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, so the movie. So if Kevin Feige is hiring him to write his movie, that speaks volumes to how good Loki must be, the series, and B, how he must feel really comfortable with the script of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. So that speaks volumes to me of how good those things must be, because Kevin Feige might get only one Star Wars movie, maybe, and if he does, he's picking this guy to write it. So to me, it speaks volumes to how Kevin Feige trusts Michael Walden. So I'm looking forward to you, like you, Bogz, of what is this story going to be. But the thing that I'm most excited about is that I'm hoping that his Star Wars movie is just something different than what we've been getting. Like, the fact that I really love Rogue One is because Rogue One is a different Star Wars movie. It's really a war movie. Not as much war as we would have liked, which they changed a lot of it. They thought it was too dark, so they toned it down a little bit. But I want to see a different kind of subgenre from the fantasy sci-fi genre that Star Wars is in. So I'm hoping Kevin gets his own little sandbox or pocket of the Star Wars universe where he can play in, where he could literally just do whatever he wants with some brand new characters in whatever timeline he feels comfortable in. So whether it be in the future, past Rise of Skywalker, whether it be in the prequel trilogy or the original trilogy, I don't care. I just hope that he gets to do whatever he wants, and if it ties into other things, great. If not, cool. But I think has earned the right where he could just be like, I want to do this, obviously, because he pitched it to Kathleen Kennedy. And they're like, yeah, sure. So I'm hoping he could just, be in a pocket. So you hear this, what are your thoughts?
So kind of just to echo the both of you here, is I don't think that Kevin Feige would be playing in the Star Wars sandbox unless there's going to be a connective plan, because you see how he's done with the MCU and has connected everything. I feel that Star Wars with the Disney era has been lacking that, even though I've enjoyed each movie to some more than others. But I think that Star Wars does need a connective plan, and I think Kevin Feige's the right man to be added into Star Wars. And then also, what Boggs is saying with MCU humor, we also are going to get some Rick and Morty humor probably from Michael Waldron, because he's a producer and writer for Rick and Morty as well. So I think these two guys, it shows too how well and Kevin Feige likes him with the MCU, and also shows kind of just like, okay, Star Wars is going to bring some stuff. They already have these people on the payroll with Disney. Might as well bring them into Star Wars.
Yeah, I think
Oh yeah.
Feige's just a straight up gangster, basically, in terms of producing. He's at that level now where he's earned it, like you said, Sean. And also the Taika is doing a movie as well, so maybe in terms of connectivity, obviously, with Ragnarok and the other MCU stuff that he's done, maybe is there a bit of connection there? Is he going to be assisting it if he needs it? That kind of thing. So yes, I think somehow, some way, them three, Kathy Jenkins, Taika, and him will have some kind of connectivity. So cool. Yes, yeah, I'm aware of what he looks like. I just haven't seen too much of his work. I'm not gonna lie. Rick and Morty, I haven't seen too much of that as well. But yes, like Feige is just because I find it funny like how he portrays himself like this kind of next door, kind of neighbor, super friendly, with his hat and very unassuming, but really like he's so meticulous with these movies and the connectivity of it and the fan reaction of it and how things are on the internet and the effects and how secretive he is. He's so, like I said, I call it gangster basically. So I love the guy and I'm glad he's in Star Wars. And to take us forward from there. So yes, I can't wait.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of rumors of people wanting him to take over for Kathleen Kennedy. I'm like, no, let him keep doing what he's doing in Marvel. He knows what he's doing there. It's proven. Let him stay there. Like I like the idea of him kind of just kind of playing in the Star Wars sandbox. Maybe once, maybe twice, but I don't want him leaving the MCU because he knows what he's doing there, and I would feel very uncomfortable if if he were to take over Star Wars, someone to take over for him in the MCU. I'm like, I don't want that. Find someone else to take over for Kathleen Kennedy, or leave Kathleen Kennedy alone.
Jon Favreau or Dave Filoni.
Sure. But I mean, I know we talked about this before. Like, I know people don't like Kathleen Kennedy for the sequel trilogy, but with that being said, you have to give her credit for The Mandalorian and all these Disney Plus shows that we're getting, because her name's on those things too. So as much as like, damn you for Rise of Skywalker, she's involved with The Mandalorian and all these other shows we're gonna get, and this Kevin Feige movie and the Kathleen Kennedy movie and the Taika Waititi movie. Like, her name is on those too. So if those movies end up being good, and obviously we all love what she's doing on Disney Plus, maybe she's a good producer herself. Maybe she's just gonna stay the course. Like, I think she's also earned the right to be honest. Like, the mouse isn't gonna be unhappy because those movies made a lot of money. The shows have been very, very popular. First two seasons of Mandalorian have been great. So I don't think, unless she wants to leave, I don't think she deserves to be, pushed out. But with this, I'm wondering. Let me ask you guys this, and then we'll move on. Do you think that that this movie is going to help, like, course correct might be the wrong word, but just kind of like smooth out the sequel trilogy a little bit? Like maybe it might be a movie set around that time that's going to kind of interconnect with those movies to kind of like fix a lot of the problems that people have with those movies. The same way, kind of like how Rebels is kind of was and the Clone Wars, well, more or less the Clone Wars kind of fixed a lot of the prequel trilogies. Maybe this movie, it wouldn't surprise me the way Kevin Feige mind works is he can plant his movie in there and kind of fix some of the problems that happened with the sequel trilogy. So what do you think?
I wouldn't want that, especially I think just going on to with the Clone Wars and what it did for the prequel trilogy, I think it needs to maybe be like another animated TV show that kind of goes in if you're going to go in and fix some problems. I don't want it to be a movie. A movie is only 2, sometimes 3 hours, because I don't think there's going to be enough time in a movie. I don't want Kevin Feige to go in, because I think the biggest problem with Rise of Skywalker was a lot of it was trying to undo what was happened in The Last Jedi, and I think that was to its detriment. And so I don't want a movie that's going to go in there and try to undo what happened in Rise of Skywalker. I would rather it be outside of that. And maybe you could bring in a character or two, because like Bogz says, goes Star Wars fans that say, "Oh, I want all new and no old characters." That's not Star Wars. So you need to bring in, you could have a cameo or two of some of a character we already know, but I think it needs to be outside of it. And I think Kevin Feige wouldn't come in if it was to fix stuff. I think he'd come in to do his own thing.
Well, I mean, you're right, but we don't know. I mean, because for me, Ray, Finn, and Poe are just way too valuable to be like, all right, you're three and you're out. Luke, Khan, and Leia were never just three and done, so they got brought back. Especially Ray. That character is super super popular. I know, she has her some fans don't like her, but overall, like the mouse loves her because she brings in a lot of female fans. A lot of young female fans love her, love dressing up as Ray. So it may not be something that necessarily, like, I should rephrase. It doesn't necessarily have to fix those movies, but just address some of the things that those movies didn't address very well. Boggs, your thoughts?
I could do a whole episode on this. So I very much would like if they affixed the sequel trilogy, to be honest with you. I do not like the sequel trilogy, except maybe I do. Force Awakens is okay at times. But even things, as you guys were talking, I was just thinking of things in The Force Awakens, like how can Han Solo just lose the Millennium Falcon? Like just how? Like that just wouldn't happen. Like you wouldn't just leave it there for years. It just wouldn't happen, right? So just things like that. Just if they chance to change that, I'd love that, to be honest. But one of the reasons why I think people some people anyway, don't like the sequels is the lack of character development. And like such as Ray, for example, yeah, obviously she's good, like you said, for women and representation and finance, things like that. But really, she's had no real character progression. She just knows the Force like that. Like, no, don't do that to us, right? We are hardcore Star Wars fans. Don't. Well, I'm talking about myself, but yeah, just don't do that, right? The best character development out of them three, I thought, was Finn in The Force Awakens, and for him just to turn him into almost a bumbling idiot in episode 8, and pretty much more so in episode 9, that kind of thing. So if they want to retcon that, I don't mind personally. But yeah, just I don't know, it's too hard to say because we have no idea where when this is set in the timeline. We don't know when it's coming out. We don't know what it's about, so it is speculation. But if they've done that, I think they've already started to move away from the sequel trilogy. Even in The Mandalorian, culminating in the for The Mandalorian to bring in characters from Clone Wars, Rebels, and the original trilogy, I just think that is the way that they are going. The more legacy characters, the more that they have affiliations to. Um, so whether Feige does that as well, I don't know. But would I want them to do that? Yes. So I do understand what you're saying, Sean, that some people obviously want to move away from what we've seen before, characters we know, stories that we know. But even Rogue One, so that is the most kind of sideways story. But even Rogue One, like the whole concept we knew about, we knew that, the whole, it was around going to be about the Death Star. We knew Vader was going to be there. So there is sprinkling of, things that we know and love about that movie. So I do, if it's like that, then okay, that's cool. But the whole notion of I don't want to see any characters, I don't want no Jedi, I don't want no tie-ins, this kind of thing, it's not going to happen. I can't see Kevin Feige, John Favreau, these kind of guys getting involved in Star Wars and just telling a brand new story with a blank canvas. I just can't see that happening, because that's what they're affiliated to, right? So, but yeah, anyway, I could go on. So I don't want to take too much time, but yes, I mean, it's very complex topic. Kathleen Kennedy, I'm very like this. I just want someone personally creative, invested in the lore of Star Wars, telling Star Wars stories moving forward, as opposed to someone business orientated, which she is. She's fantastic. Obviously, I think her how many movies? So her 5 movies generate something like $6 billion. But for me, it's not about that. For me, it's about the story. For me, it's about the energy, the characters, and that's what I want moving forward. So yeah, she's earned the right financially, but story-wise, for me, she hasn't. But of course, her choice. She's one of the best producers of all time. But yes, whether she steps down or not, whether someone else comes in, who knows? I'm sure that will come to fruition in the next year or so. Because I believe this is the last year of her contract, so we're going to see she signed yeah. So we're going to see where she's going to go. But yes, if they moved away from the prequels, I wouldn't mind, to be honest with you.
Well, I don't think they will move away. I think they and I don't think the word retcon. Yeah, I don't think retcon is the right word. I think filling in the gaps is a better way of putting it, because like obviously the Clone Wars didn't retcon anything. They for the most part they just filled in gaps, and it made you kind of understand the relationship. Story. Yeah, it makes you understand the Anakin and Obi-Wan story a little bit better. Sure. So like when you watch Revenge of the Sith, then you have a better understanding of like what their dynamic has become. So like for me, if we got and it doesn't necessarily have to be this movie. I think at some point they have to, and it may be with a movie or it might be a series where you might have to address all these characters again. And maybe Soul is right. Maybe an animated series is the best way to do this, where you kind of fill in the gaps in between The Force Awakens and Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker to kind of explain these characters and flush them out even more so, where then those movies make more sense. So
I think it needs to be between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, personally, because we already have Star Wars Resistance, which kind of comes after. I think in the timeline it's after The Force Awakens and before Last Jedi. So I think it needs to be a series that is between Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, or happening during that time.
Yeah, I don't know. I could see Kevin, like, I could see it going both ways, to be honest. I could see Kevin Feige going to Kathleen Kennedy, like, hey, I just want to do my own Star Wars story, like a standalone thing with some new characters during whatever timeline. Yeah, I could easily see him doing that, because then he can literally doesn't have to worry about anybody else's thing. He can just do his own thing. Or I could literally see him doing like, hey, just let me kind of fit my movie into this timeline and fill in these gaps here. I can easily see him doing either one of those things. Again, he could do whatever he wants. Pretty much. She's not going to tell him no.
Do you think it's possibly a High Republic?
Maybe. I mean, I will give Kathleen Kennedy this point, is that she obviously had plans, because she was going to do the Rian Johnson prequel, which is trilogy, which is probably gone for good. The guys from Game of Thrones were coming to come in. They're gone. So I like that she had a plan, and saw that, that plan's not working. And then she pivoted. She was like, oh, we're going to do all these Star Wars story movies. They did Rogue One. They did Solo. Oh, Solo didn't do any very good. We're going to pivot. So instead of her just like moving forward, we're just like, I don't care. These movies are making money. Let's just keep going down that road. She's like, well, let's take a step back and reevaluate. So she threw those plans away, and she's going down another path with obviously this movie. Patty Jenkins movie and Taika Waititi's movie. So she is listening to the fans and she's listening to feedback because obviously she had a plan that was not this. She had a different plan and she's moved away from that. So also we got to give her credit for that too because she could have easily have said, these movies are making money. I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. What were we gonna say, Saul?
I was gonna say I want to be put on the record. I still want a Ryan Johnson trilogy because he's a phenomenal director, and even if a lot of people don't view The Last Jedi as a Star Wars movie, I think it's because he was playing in J.J. Abrams' mystery box that he loves to create in all of his movies. And I think as if he had his own trilogy where he's creating everything, all the people who work on the canon of Star Wars said they loved working with Ryan Johnson, that he was just one of the most respectful to the Star Wars canon when they were going through all of that. So I really want him to have his own trilogy, and I wanted to put that on the record.
No,
So I'll put
go ahead,
that on
Bogz.
the record that just to give the opposite side argument to it. So I'm a bit thingy with Ryan Johnson. So like Looper is for me one of the best sci-fi movies of the last 20 years. Love that. Do not like Knives Out at all. Very predictable movie for me. And
Really?
yeah, I
I
could see
love
that
it.
it was her. I could see the villains before that happened, and I don't like the way Anna Diarmid turned into like a ninja, and she could just do everything throughout them. Like no, anyway, that's a side thing. But yeah, Brian Johnson. I don't want him anywhere near Star Wars anymore. So if but like I said, I like him. I love Looper. I absolutely love Looper. But for me, like no, like this guy is for me. He doesn't understand it as much as, or he understands it differently to like how I see it or how other people see it, in my opinion. But I don't want him anywhere near. And I'm personally glad they haven't announced his trilogy or if it gets cancelled or anything like that. So yes, but I'm looking forward to his next project, just not in Star Wars because
Well, his next project is going to be another movie set in the Knives Out world. So have fun with that, Bogz. So I'm kind of in the middle of you guys. I'm in the middle. Even though I'm up here. I liked Last Jedi. And I agree with you. So I think a lot the problems with Last Jedi is that he had to come after J.J. Abrams, where J.J.'s just like, I'm setting up all this stuff, and then Ryan, here you figure it out. If I
Put
think
Luke
that
on an
movie would,
island.
partly,
You gotta figure out
yeah,
why
I think if Ryan had done the first movie, I think you might, Bogz. I think you might feel differently about him. Well, obviously, we'll never know. But would I like to see him do another Star Wars movie? Yes, but I just think to the populace, his name is poison to Star Wars fans. So that movie's just so well, yeah, but a vocal minority of them, just like you hear the word Ryan Johnson, they'll just start like, clenching their fists.
Yeah, I mean you're right. I'm not that extreme, but I'd say I follow a lot of Star Wars YouTubers, that kind of thing. There's a lot of communities. I'd say the majority of them do not like The Last Jedi, Ryan Johnson. I think it's weird. Like the smaller, like the most vocal ones are ones that do like Ryan Johnson, Last Jedi, but the actual majority don't. So, well, yeah, that's just my opinion. But if they, what you're saying about if he's playing in JJ's sandbox, absolutely 100% correct. It's obviously it's from all the things he's kind of set up in The Force Awakens, but I think it all stems down to, and this isn't a Star Wars podcast, I'm not going to go on about it for ages, but it all stems down to, for me, how he's treated Luke. So you've got the OG in the most beloved franchise of all time. Here, you've got the keys here. People waiting 40 years for you to return. And, we've seen the reaction. We've seen the reaction in The Mandalorian if you do it right. We could have had that in the movies. We didn't have to be in this controversial space. It's happened because of the decisions that were made. And this is the consequence of it. But if he'd have done that correct, I don't think, maybe it would have been different. It might not have been this ecstatic or at this level, that kind of thing. But that's where, for me, that they are purposely made choices. So even if he was in The Force Awakens, I don't personally think that it would have been a beloved success like The Mandalorian is, because he still would have made these out there mistakes, which are good for sci-fi movies and stuff, whatever, but in this era, in this franchise, in these episodes, wrong choices for me. So
and I love
but yeah,
what he
I'll
did
say
with
too much.
Luke. So I'm on the opposite of Bogz. Bogz and I are the opposite
right.
today.
Sure.
I loved
I
that
love the
story.
way people love it. I love that. But I
I
like
I like what
watching
they did
the
with Luke too.
debates
I like what they did.
yeah, I love how people are so passionate about it. Like, but for me, like for example, and like like how people are passionate defense over it. For me, I can't watch that Mandalorian episode without crying. I'm being honest with you. I get teary-eyed when I see that guy in the corridor, the way he moves and everything. And then for me, imagine me, that person, seeing episode 8, The Last Jedi. I can't stand it. Like I almost forward Luke scenes. That's how kind of my, I try and, obviously it is my favorite franchise and I try and move forward with it, but that's the kind of balance that I have in my head. So, but yeah, people love that stuff. That's great. I mean, I'm happy for that.
We'll have a Star Wars conversation later about it.
Definitely. But last word on this for me, and then we can move on, is that always remember they didn't have a plan. So it's just like JJ did all these, and I think that's the biggest problem with the sequel trilogy. There was no plan. Right. So correct. JJ doing all these things in the Force Awakens, and then just here, Ryan, you figure out what happens next because I don't know. Like that's the biggest problem, and so it's up to Ryan to be like, I guess this is what happens. I guess Luke is a bitter old man. Maybe I don't know. But if there was a plan going forward, maybe obviously the sequel trilogy would be been better if it was planned out ahead of time. And I think that's the biggest detriment to those movies that they're just writing it as they figure.
That's where the problem lies with Kathleen Kennedy. Because obviously, being
that's
the head,
that's on her. Yeah, that's on her.
George Lucas gave her the treatments, the scripts of what he wants in the next. Obviously, you don't have to do exactly what he does, but the creator's there. But yeah. Anyway, sorry, I keep getting involved.
We've triggered Bogz. We said
I know. Well, I got triggered a little bit too, in the sense that what if? Because I know, like, real quick, I know this is kind of on the Kevin Feige topic, but what if? Because Patty Jenkins has already kind of, she's writing the treatment right now with a famous writer. She has tweeted that out. What if, on a limb, what if that famous writer is George Lucas? What if she's writing her movie with George Lucas? Would you like that?
So,
I think George Lucas is best is when he has someone else that can hone him in, and that's why the original trilogy is so good, and that's why the prequel trilogy, which I loved, and I even have a special place in my heart for Attack of the Clones because that's the first Star Wars movie I saw. But a lot of people said that was George just like, oh, now I have free reign to do whatever I want. So if it is George Lucas writing and then Patty Jenkins kind of helping him out and having people to rein in George Lucas, I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
Yeah, because she's writing. She said it's a him, and they're writing the treatment together, and then she's going to give the treatment to this writer, and this person's going to write it. So it seems like it's a famous person, and I think like George is just sitting there. He's not doing much. He's just sitting there counting his millions of dollars that he has. Hey, George, you want to? Well, no, Bill. He has billions. You want to write a Star Wars movie? You want to do it? Like, I think that would be a great way to bring him back in. Bogz, what do you think? If they announce George Lucas is helping to write Patty Jenkins' Rogue Squadron movie, how would you feel?
What do you think I'm going to say, Sean, by the way?
You probably...
It's out of interest.
I think you'd be happy.
You goddamn right I'd be happy with that. Yes. They should be banging on that guy's door, demanding he comes out, begging him to come back and write a story. Yes, the answer to the question is yeah. So, but even if they don't, I genuinely believe, I talked about this on We Have the High Ground, watch our episodes on this channel, that I thoroughly believe that he's been involved in The Mandalorian with Favreau, with Filoni. He is in effect, Filoni is in effect his Padawan, right? His apprentice. So I can't see him writing these scripts, being a showrunner, and not asking him for guidance, not asking him for advice, his opinion on, how, what someone's costume should be.
He was on set for season 2.
Exactly.
on set
He
for
was
Exactly.
on
season
set
2.
for season 1 as well.
Yeah, and they're not just going to call him and say, "Oh, we're filming today. Do you want to come down?" No, like throughout the production of people, they must have asked him his opinions on stuff and things like that. So, especially with Ahsoka, that's his creation, that's his character. So whether it's them specifically asking him to be involved in the script, and yes, I do agree with Saul. He isn't the best director or writer of all time, but he's one of the best storytellers of all time. So when he works with other people like Irvin Kershner, or Steven Spielberg with the Indiana Jones franchise, he can bring out this amazing story. So I do hope that, but I think we've already got that in the Mandalorian. So obviously I don't know that; it's just speculation from what I see. But yeah, I think we
I
already
agree,
got that.
Bogz.
Well,
Now we're back on the same side.
I think he sprinkles in his opinions, but I love what Soul is saying that, yeah, if he was left on his own devices, would I be excited? No. But the fact that if this were to be true, he'd be writing it with Patty Jenkins writing the treatment with him. So he wouldn't be completely on his own. So Patty Jenkins is there with him writing it. So if that were to be the case, I'd be more excited because it's not just George, by himself figuring this stuff out. He's got parameters that he has to go by. So if that were the case, I'd be super excited because who knows Star Wars better than he does? It's his creation. So the fact that if Patty Jenkins wants an in and she wants her own take, who is better to kind of shepherd her in to the lore of Star Wars than George Lucas himself? So I just think that's a great marriage. If it were to happen, obviously it may not, but I just think at some point, whether it's him doing this or him doing something officially, like his name officially on it, something, I think they would be a derelict of duty not to give him something to do. Because obviously, they don't have to, but I just think like the man is sitting there for Christ's sake. He's not getting any younger. None of us are, but like use him. He's there. Officially use him for something Star Wars related. I mean, like obviously they had all those TV scripts that are just sitting there as well on the show that they were gonna do on ABC or HBO. Like I know they've been like cherry picking ideas from those, but just officially use him for something. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, we could talk about this for hours because obviously, but I think Boggs is a Star Wars fan. I don't know, and I think Soul is.
I mentioned it before.
I don't know. You might have. I don't know.
It's as if I have my own Star Wars show, right?
Yeah, I don't know. You might have. I don't know.
Should have,
but
yeah.
anyways,
We have the high ground. Does that exist? I don't
Yeah.
think it does.
I
It'd be
heard
a good
that
name, right?
somewhere.
It's a great
is
name.
a good name.
Yeah.
I might have heard it somewhere. All right. So the main thing that we're gonna go over is WandaVision. So WandaVision, the first MCU Disney Plus series. It wasn't supposed to be the first, but because of COVID in 2021 or 2020, it got pushed. The Falcon and Winter Soldier was supposed to be the first. Now it's going to be the second. Funny how that works. So obviously we're getting WandaVision. It's coming out on the 15th. Really, really looking forward to it. A lot has changed. It was originally supposed to only be 6 episodes of 6 hours. Now it's going to be 9 episodes. So we don't know if that 6 hours is still a thing or if it's been expanded. We don't know. Obviously, we do know that it's going to be like a sitcom. They're going to be going through all the different ages of sitcom shows. Like they actually shot in front of a live studio audience for episode 1. Imagine being in that live studio audience and you can't say anything for this long. I would be going crazy if I was in that because I love the MCU. So I'm really looking forward to WandaVision. Obviously, this show is going to have a lot of tentacles moving forward. It directly ties into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. It obviously directly ties into Spider-Man 3, whatever that movie is going to be called. So this is going to be Wanda. Obviously it picks up at the end of Endgame, and Wanda's kind of mindset of where she is going after that movie. Obviously, Vision is dead at the end of that movie. He got killed in Infinity War. So, what do you guys think about WandaVision? What is your excitement level? And I'll ask you some specific questions. But Boggs, overall thought process of kind of where we know what we know about the show and where we left specifically Wanda. What are your thoughts about the show in general?
Yeah, so my expectation level, I've got to be honest, is not very high. So I'm first of all, Wanda isn't. Yes, her powers are good. She, for me, that she is one of the more kind of middle ground characters. Like, I'm not particularly interested in her to see the additional stuff. So I thought, okay, cool. I'll wait for the trailers. Trailers come out super confusing for me. I'm still one of them people that still don't get. And people kind of so passionate about the trailers and oh my god, did you see the super? I'm like, they're just really weird to me. So they haven't sold me any further. But of course, I've fell for that so many times over the years. So particularly we were talking about Cobra Kai. Like, I think the trailers are not very good for Cobra Kai, but it's one of the best shows I've seen recently. So I'm definitely going to watch it. Of course, I'm not overly excited for it, but you did cover something that I do find quite interesting. Is that the episodes? Is that because I felt this with the Mandalorian as well? It's like one of the first things I do is I check how long the episodes are. For some reason, if it's kind of less than like, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 minutes, I kind of feel a little bit disappointed. Like, I waited all week and it's only 31 minutes or 32 minutes. So, because you mentioned that they kind of confirmed that it's 9 episodes. They haven't confirmed, because initially they said 6 hours and 6 episodes, 6 hours. They've now said 9 episodes. They haven't said how long it is. So they've given no indication of how long each episode is. I did find that quite fascinating, but and I also find it fascinating that would you guys prefer like a longer, like if you stretch out the episodes, like if you did 9 episodes being half an hour long, or if you did 6 episodes being an hour long or 45 minutes long? I understand probably, like the Mandalorian has done, like doing the weekly drops, for that to be the kind of key talking point of the week, especially in this current pandemic where there's a lack of stuff coming out. I do think that is a smart idea, but I personally prefer the shorter, fuller episodes. So because especially also in the kind of, because of the pandemic, 2021, there's going to be stuff, I think from like February onwards, there's big projects, streaming services, movie stuff coming out every single week. Multiple things coming out every single week. So I personally think that any big show that's coming out needs to finish as soon as possible, because you may lose, traction, you may lose, marketing for it, monetize it, whatever, because of so many things coming out. So I would prefer if they have kind of, if the show's episodes are longer, let's say for 6 episodes, if they're 45 minutes each done. So that that's the kind of stuff that I'm interested in about the show. I'm not particularly interested about what I've seen so far, although keep being told it has bigger implications across the whole MCU. So looking forward to that. But yes, that's what I'm most interested in, the episode lengths and what it will do for kind of industry in general and which way they're going. So I'm interested in that. Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because this show will lead right in. Like the way they set up their year, Disney has been very, very clever. As soon as these 9 episodes, we get the Falcon and Winter Soldier, so we go right into that, and then by then we get, if theaters are open in the States, we'll get Black Widow, and then we go right into Loki. So they have set up their year, and then we get the What If show and so on. So
Okay,
they
so
have
all
set up
supposed to
the
come
year.
straight after each other, pretty
Yeah,
much. Right?
yeah.
Is that right?
It's so as soon as we leave WandaVision, we go right into Falcon and Winter Soldier. So we won't even get a week break. So to answer your question about length, I don't care. For me, it's just a matter of story. Does your story
Always.
fit the episode length? Because my problem with a lot of the Marvel shows that were on Netflix is that they were like 13 episodes, but their story weren't 13 episodes long. There were just 1 or 2 episodes always were just like filler. We're just like, we're wasting time to get to the next episode. And that was always just like, oh, here we go. We're the characters just kind of just waiting around for something else to happen. And it's like, that was always a frustrating thing. Even though I in Daredevil, loved that season 1, season 2, and season 3. There was always an episode or two, especially in Luke Cage and all of them. There was just an episode or two where it was just like they're just waiting for something to happen, literally. where nothing happens. So I always felt like those shows series should always be like maybe 10 episodes long. So if their initial was going to be 6 and now it's 9, maybe they realized that they needed more because they had a lot more story to tell, and maybe it was gonna surpass the 6 hours. They're like, let's put into 9. So I kind of unlike you. I do also, when I was watching The Mandalorian, I did kind of see what the length was gonna be, but for me, as long as the episode is good, if it's 22, like, because a sitcom is half hour or 22 minutes without commercials.
And that's how they're
If
marketing it, like a sitcom, right?
yeah, if they're marketing it like a sitcom and every episode was either a half hour or 22 minutes, sign me up. If I get 9 great episodes that are that long, I won't care. If there are
If they
9
pack
episodes
it
where the
with the enjoyment in that short episode, yeah, that's great. Of
yeah,
course.
I honestly I won't
Going
care.
back to that was only 30 minutes, and see how enjoyable those episodes. You don't even realize that it's a 30-minute episode because it's
Yeah.
jam-packed with just amazingness.
Yeah, it's interesting how a show that's 30 minutes or less doesn't feel that way because there's no commercials. In a traditional show where there's commercial breaks, you it it feels a little bit different. But when you're watching it straight through, 30 minutes or even 22 minutes is feels longer than it actually is because you're watching it all the way through. But so, your thoughts about the show in general? What are your overall expectation or excitement level about the show going in general?
So now I am again on the opposite side of Boggs, and I'm so excited for this season. It's basically it goes in for the if you've read House of M, if you read some of the comics, just you could tell why people are very excited about this show. If I think if you look in the MCU, Kevin Feige has already said Captain Marvel is the most powerful, but the
Yeah.
top 3 most powerful to me is Captain Marvel, Doctor Strange, and Wanda. And the thing with Wanda too is in the MCU, she had some crazy stuff happen to her. Both her brother and the love of her life are dead. And she hasn't dealt with that mentally yet in the MCU. And we're going to see that in this show. We're I think we're going to see Mephisto. I think we're going to hear the words mutants instead of no more mutants. We're going to hear the word mutants. I think if you look at the 2 babies, those are people. Those are mutants, and I just so much with the show. I'm so excited about it, and I really think we're going to see Wanda at her full power because she hasn't been at her full power yet. And Wanda, I think that's it. This is setting up for her to be the big bad for Doctor Strange. I think she is going to be the villain in the Doctor Strange movies, kind of in the similar vein of the comics, is where she goes so crazy, so over the top because of all the things that's happened to her that she becomes a villain. And then I think Doctor Strange is going to be either railing her back to the good side, or I think it's going to be she's a villain through that, and then other movies are going to bring her back to the good side. So I'm so excited for this movie. There's so much implications with this show for the rest of the MCU. Like I'm so excited.
I love how you get all that from the trailer, and I'm just like, I don't get it.
but Soul and I, because I agree with Soul. It's not only the trailers, it's what Kevin Feige said about the show. So the fact and we know, like, I think I agree because Kevin did say Captain Marvel is the most powerful. I think at this point, going forward, though, I think Wanda is going, like you said, she hasn't revealed her true powers yet. I think this show is going to be the beginning of her kind of, letting loose. And because I do think she's going to she's obviously going to break the multiverse because in Spider-Man 3, we're going to get, all these different Spider-Man coming in. So I'm really excited to see exactly how and what pushes her over the edge to get to that point where I think I agree with you. So I think she is going to be the villain in Doctor Strange 2. But is someone pulling her strings? Like, how is I think someone is pulling it. Maybe it is Mephisto. Maybe there have been rumors that it might be Nightmare. So are they going to be laying those groundwork in this series? Because it does kind of lead into that movie. So, and obviously, if you want to understand that movie, you're going to have to watch this series. So are they laying a lot of that groundwork here? So I'm really interested to see. And one of my main questions about but with Wanda is the government, is she like in a government facility at this point? Did the government kind of like take her, because obviously with the Sokovia Accords, we're not 100% sure what happened with those things. Do they think that she might still be dangerous and unhinged because of what happened with Vision? Does the government actually get a hold of her and Tony's not there to protect her like he was trying to initially? So do we think the government has her? Soul, what do you think?
I think you see it in the trailer, and you see that kind of going. I think they've created her own situation, her own like little town. Oh, what's the name of that movie? It's literally
Pleasantville?
no. The one Jim Carrey's in
Oh, the Truman Show.
Truman Show. There we go. I think it's going to be very Truman Show esque. I think there's going to be a moment where they realize how dangerous she is, and I think this is Shield, not or
Sword?
Sword. Sorry, I think it's Sword. And I think that they're going to realize how dangerous she is. They're going to put her in this bubble, make her own reality, bring back Vision in some way or form that is not actually Vision, but she thinks it's Vision, and so that's going to be the sitcom part. And I think the actual story is when she's starting to realize, oh, this is not reality, this is not it. And I think you see that in the last trailer as well, where you see the guy in the mask, and she kind of sees him, and then it goes in between two different realities. And so I think Sword has her.
Interesting. Boggs?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are educating me on it, really. So, yeah, I don't know, I've not put as much thought as into it as you guys, because I kind of put it in the back of my mind a little bit, because, like I said, the trailers haven't sold me on it. So I'll just be like, yeah, I'll just watch it when it comes out and figure it out at the time. But yeah, no, I mean, like I said, you educated me on it, so it sounds more interesting now. But yeah, I did kind of think that is she in some kind of facility or some kind of base, like they done to, obviously a different version, but like they done to Captain America in the first Avenger, where they put him in a kind of like a cosmetic situation where it makes him kind of believe he was in the 50s or whatever, that kind of thing. So but it seems a bit too complex for that. But yeah, no, I'll be watching it on Friday, but I don't have as much ideas as you guys.
Okay. Well, I'll ask you this. In terms of Vision, obviously he's the it's called WandaVision, so Vision's going to play a big role in this. Obviously, he died. So, do we think that he's being brought back by Wanda to try to help her cope, or the government or whoever is in charge bring a version of him back to help her cope? And do you think by the end of WandaVision, the real Vision will somehow get brought back somehow?
I think that's where we're going. I think that we're going to have Vision back. I think we're going to have Paul Bettany still be part of the MCU. Because I think, too, when you see at the end of Infinity War, when they take the stone out, he looks like the West Coast Avengers version of Vision. He has that coloration, because the West Coast Avengers one, he's gray. And so
Yeah.
I think that we're bringing Vision back. I think, especially too, because part of his brain is in the cloud, kind of and it's between Tony Stark. Is between. He has a little bit of Ultron. He has a little bit of Bruce Banner. He has a little bit of everything. I think some form of consciousness of Vision is in the cloud or something of that nature, whatever the MCU wants to call it, and that's how he's going to be brought back.
Well, we do have to remember Shuri started the process
Yeah, sure.
of downloading his content. We don't know how far along she got until they were interrupted. So that's a
Part of his
possibility
consciousness
as well.
could be in Wakanda. So
Yeah, absolutely. So
I wonder if we get a Shuri cameo or a Wakanda cameo where they're getting.
it's possible. It's really really possible. I do think that I agree with you. So I think Vision is coming back. How, I don't know, because obviously his body is there, and like I said, Shuri was in the process of downloading his consciousness. So that scene didn't happen by accident. So Boggs, what are your thoughts about Vision?
So I'm not as well versed as you guys on this, clearly, but I don't think he will come back after season one, personally, because just on the fact that it seems like it could be she's trying to establish what's kind of going on, and this is like another reality, and then by the end she kind of snaps out of it and and kind of accepts who she is. There's some kind of character progression or accept the reality, and obviously don't forget that she is her own character. She didn't come in with Vision. Like they've obviously kind of hooked up, but they're not always kind of tied together. Like she has her own character thing. So I don't know about always being together after this season. So I would like to see her move away from Vision after this season. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, I don't know if this I don't know we still don't know if this is going to be a series or a limited series. They really haven't kind of said if it's going to be one or the other. I mean, I'm fine with it being, nine and done and kind of moving on, and it's setting up the stage for a lot of things going forward. I hear what you're saying, Boggs. Like like, because I think for the most part it's called WandaVision, not Vision Wanda. So I think this is going to be a lot of Wanda's self discovery of kind of like her understanding what's happening to her, and probably she getting manipulated, and having a better understanding of what she can actually really do. Because she's going to break the multiverse. She's going to break it. Whether it's she fully breaks it in this series or she cracks it, and then in Doctor Strange 2 she actually breaks it. Because obviously we already know that that's how these. Well, we don't know, but it makes sense that that's how all these other Spider-Men are going to come back, and maybe this is how they bring the X-Men in. The ramifications of what's happening to her are going to be long lasting. So whether Vision comes back is a question. I think he should, because I just liked his character. He doesn't necessarily have to show up in Doctor Strange 2. They can just allude to him, but we obviously in the trailers we saw their kids, and their kids play a big role in Young Avengers, which it seems like they're slowly building to as well. So I'll ask you, so do we think her kids are going to actually be real? Is she's going to like create them, or something like that, and they're going to be going forward?
So a thought popped into my head as Boggs was talking, because this is Wanda's story more than Vision's.
Mhm.
And if it's true that she's going to be the villain of Doctor Strange, I think having her kids and having Vision at the end of this season, she would be good again. And she needs to be evil. So I think Vision is gonna be part of the MCU and is gonna come back. But now I've changed my timeline in my head. He's not coming back in this season. He might come back at Doctor Strange. It might be come back later in the MCU to bring her back to being a good person. Because I think she needs to be evil, and therefore, if she's evil for Doctor Strange, she can't have Vision. And I think her
Yeah.
kids can't be real. I think going down the line, somehow her kids are going to be real because it's Wiccan and Speed. They're part of the comics. They weren't real, and they became real kind of similarly in the comics. So, and I think they are going to do a Young Avengers, especially with you have the Hawkeye series, you have Cassie Lang, Scott Lang's daughter. I think there is going to be a Young Avengers thing.
The
So
Iron Heart one.
yeah, I think Wiccan and Speed will be part of the MCU, but I think by the end of this season, she's going to realize that her kids and Vision are not real, that it's a simulation created by Sword, and that's what's going to make her go fully evil. She's going to be the villain for Doctor Strange. And then when they bring her back to being herself, her good self, it's going to be, oh no, here's Vision and here's your kids. And they actually were real this whole time. So Boggs brought that. You
You've
made
literally
that
just
in my
explained
head go.
my thought process that I didn't
Yeah.
explain. Like that's what I was thinking. I've got a question.
And
How do you guys know? Unless I missed something, how do you guys know that she is a villain in Doctor Strange?
well,
The
we know
multi-
she's in it. We don't know
Yep.
Yeah.
we don't know she's the villain.
It's
We know
speculation right
she's
now from
in
Okay,
it.
okay, okay,
comics.
okay.
Because
Yeah.
of the comics, there's speculation that she's going to be the villain. It has
Right.
not been proven or not.
Okay,
But
okay. I
Yeah.
thought like Kevin Feige said something, or
No, they're keeping that close of it. We just know that she's in, and they're actually shooting it now. But I do like your guys' theory is that I think potentially because we already seen the trailer that the illusion at some point starts to like glitch. So it could be that she's created this fantasy world for herself, and that it breaks, and then that could be something that just helps her break mentally. And I don't think she's going to be the villain. I think someone is going to be pulling her strings to kind of like see what they did to you. They took this away from you, and then she's going to go mad. Hence, Multiverse of Madness. I think she is going to go mad. I don't think she's going to be a villain, but I think someone's going to be manipulating her to kind of just continue to break the multiverse for someone else's gain. Like the multiverse getting broken is going to either help Nightmare, Mephisto, or Dormammu might come back because he's stuck, so it could be him too. So maybe they're just trying to use Wanda to their benefit. So I think that's where she might be the villain, but she might not be aware of she might be getting manipulated. That's what I think is going to happen to her. I agree with you, Soul. She's going to kind of be like, oh, this is a great fantasy world, and it just slowly starts to break. Because maybe she's getting too powerful or whatever the mechanism they're going to use to break it, she's going to get pissed off, and whoever's manipulating her is going to like feed into that, and then she's going to go mad and break the multiverse, and that's what we're going to pick up in Doctor Strange 2 and in Spider-Man 3. So maybe the kids aren't real now, and maybe Vision isn't real now, but I do think that I agree with you. Maybe them getting her back sane is like, hey, you could just, hey, we have Vision. Yeah, we brought Vision. Maybe they brought Vision back because they have his body, they have the conscious. Maybe they bring him back, and maybe then they can have kids, and maybe that's how the kids become real after that.
They could bring her back to convince her to come back to the good side.
And there are some. Sorry, there are some reviews on Twitter if anyone wants to see them. I think people have got kind of screeners for the first 3 episodes. So yeah, I don't want to spoil that. I mean, they're non-spoiler reviews, but they are mainly positive. In fact, pretty much entirely positive, saying it's funny, it's complex, it's really, really interesting, that kind of narrative. So yeah, it looks good.
Yeah, well, I'm looking for. So we will break because they are weekly. We will break them down here on
2
PopTalk.
episodes dropping on Friday, as far as I'm aware.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know.
I thought I saw that somewhere.
If it is, that's great.
I mean, that's double the fun. Sure, why not? Either way, I don't care. 1 episode, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, it's all good. I'm super excited. I'm super excited for this show. I mean, once Kevin Feige announced it, I was just like, we're getting a sitcom show in the MCU? Sign me up. Never would have thought we would get something like this. And he did say at the beginning it was different. So what you're saying right now is what they're saying is different. I'm like, yeah, no shit. So I like different. Different's great. And that's what the MCU I think is striving, because they are doing different things. Like if you look at all the shows that they're coming out with, this the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki, Miss Marvel, all these shows, they're all going to be different. They're going to be, obviously set in the same universe, but they're all going to have their own different. Hawkeye, all the shows are going to have their own different feel and different take. So the fact that we're getting this kind of flavor is like, oh man, like, so if we get 2 episodes, great. We'll review both of them.
2 episodes.
You're getting 2? All right. So that's appointment viewing right there. It might be for me Friday at midnight. Just jumping right in there.
Don't remind me. You get the midnight. I have to wait till 3:00, and Bogz even later because he's across the pond.
Yeah, that's like 8 a.m. for me. So I'll just watch it when I wake up.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you go. And so you can just watch it when you wake up. For me, it's better. Or you can wake up at 3. I don't think I would recommend that, considering we don't know how long those episodes are. So if they're like, You got a long thing to watch. So any final? Okay, last thing, and then we'll move on. And do you guys think we're gonna get any interesting cameos from characters in the MCU? So obviously we know Kate Dennings is gonna reprise her role. We actually got the lady. We're gonna see the adult version of Rebecca Rambeau's character from Captain Marvel. She's going to be in it. So, but do you guys envision anybody else in the MCU that we know of popping in? Boggs, do you think we're going to see anybody?
Definitely, yes. The Whether potentially Benedict Cumberbatch, if she's in that. Um, I think Randall Park is maybe announced. I don't know where I've seen that somewhere.
Oh yeah, he's going to be in it as well. Yeah, he is going to be in it as well.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, exactly. So we already know that there's some. Of course, there's going to be twists and turns, that kind of thing, and stay along for the any potential post-credit scenes as well. I'll be looking forward to them if they have any. But yeah, definitely times. I don't know who. The only one I've kind of will speculate, like who I think that will be Doctor Strange. But other than that, I mean, maybe Bruce Banner, that kind of thing. But yeah, lots of potentials.
Yeah, I definitely think the last episode of the season will have a post-credit scene. I think, well, it's like, and I think that would be a perfect way to tie into either Spider-Man or Doctor Strange too. So I think we could potentially get a Spider-Man a cameo or a Doctor Strange cameo or both. We don't know. So who do you think might pop up?
Now I think that we're gonna get some Wakanda. We might get some Shuri in it, because of the fact that she probably has some of his consciousness in Wakanda and that technology. So, and I think too, possibly that last episode we might see a few more people if she really just goes bonkers. And who knows what sword agents? We know that Nick Fury right now is up on the space station for Sword, and so we might see a Nick Fury. We might see a Talos. We might see one of the scrolls. Who knows? So I'm just excited to see what cameos we get.
One that might be very, very interesting is Quicksilver himself. So obviously we know he died in Age of Ultron, but would they bring him back for this series? Considering if she's going to be, this is her perfect fantasy world, wouldn't her perfect fantasy also involve her brother? So do you guys think that we might get a Quicksilver cameo in the series?
Very possible. Very possible.
Yeah, and not only is this like obviously it's WandaVision because the character's vision, but I also interpret it as a vision as well, like Wanda's visions, like her brother,
Yes.
like this alternate reality stuff, like that kind of thing. So it's like a play on words, isn't it? So I presume that yes, they'll involve him as well.
I would put money on he's going to show up at. Maybe he may not be a big part of it, but we're definitely going to see him pop up some way, shape, or form. I think
Yeah.
it's almost like duh, because when he signed up, these actors sign up for multiple movies and things like that. So it's not like he signed up for one movie and then he was done. They could bring those characters back anytime they want. So if they're ever going to bring him back, this is a perfect. And I agree with you, Boggs. Though WandaVision is a play on words because I think this is just going to be her way of them kind of manipulating her to kind of keep her, like we don't want her to go crazy and break stuff. So just kind of help her create this little bubble world for her to like live out the rest of her life in. So, what perfect way to bring Quicksilver back? Now, obviously, I don't think he'll be in the show a lot, but I do think a cameo is. I'd put money on it that we're going to see him again. So, obviously, me and Soul are excited. I think Boggs will get excited once he starts seeing the show. I think when we shoot again and we start reviewing the first two episodes, I think Boggs will be a lot more excited. I think right now he's just like, he's playing a wait and see game.
Yeah, pretty much. I hope so.
Yeah. Oh, I hope so too. Otherwise, me and Soul will gang up on you and. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Just
ready
kidding.
to
Or,
go.
or I was saying, I hope so too. That like our excitement is warranted. That's where I thought he was going. I didn't know Sean was gonna go gangster here for a little bit. I'm sorry.
Well, you know,
Well, we
I'll have
can't
to
do anything.
use my
You're
defense only. You know, don't make me go there.
you're across the pond. We can't do nothing to you. Yeah, and
Uh,
you're part of Miyagi-Do. I don't know. You might drop kick us or
And he
something.
is
I
in
don't.
lockdown over there, so I don't think we can go to his house.
yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
they won't let Americans in. We're too crazy. So anyways, so yeah, so obviously we're really excited for WandaVision. Obviously we'll break down the episodes as they come out every week, and I love the fact that they're coming out every week, so we don't have to like binge watch like 9 episodes in one day. Because I would do it, I don't want to do it, but now I don't have to. So I'm loving the Disney Plus formula. All right, cool. So dropping to our last segment, which is WRRP, watching, reading, recommending, and playing. So I know last time I was on, I said I would be watching The Witcher. I started watching it. I haven't finished it because I haven't played the game, so that world is very weird to me. But I'm a man of my word. I will eventually finish it. Obviously, now that WandaVision is coming in, that's also going to take my top priority. But at some point, I will finish The Witcher. Sorry, The Witcher, and then
Who watches
once
the
I
watch?
finish that, yeah, who watches The Watcher? Um, Stan Lee does. I will then potentially move my focus towards Clone Wars. So I did start watching Clone Wars. I fell off. I can't remember where I fell off from, so I'm literally just gonna have to start from the beginning and watch it from the beginning, and then move to Rebels, and then move to what's the new not Bad Batch? What's the one that's going on right now? Reliance or
Isn't any on right now?
No, no,
no? There
Resistance.
was
Resistance.
Resistance. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
That's not the biggest. It's like a side story almost.
yeah.
It does have a
Well,
few tie-ins here and there, but that's not a necessity. Necessity
Well,
wise,
but
yeah,
it's
I wanna watch
It's
it,
it's
yeah,
a
go.
it's
I
an
got Disney
eventual
Plus. Might
get
as well
to.
watch it.
Yeah, it's an eventual get to. It's not high priority
Hmm.
show.
No, but I mean, I got Disney Plus. Might as well watch it. So yes, so at some point, the next couple of months, I will start watching Clone Wars, then Rebels, and then just kind of go on the line to help fill in my Star Wars gaps, because I am a Star Wars fan. I cannot call myself a hardcore fan, because obviously, like if we did a Star Wars trivia match, you guys would annihilate me. But I'm a big Star Wars fan of the movies, and I started watching Clone Wars, so I will want to rededicate watching that and kind of fill in my gap. So that's what I plan to finish watching. Finish watching The Witcher, and then move to Rebels, and sorry, Clone Wars, and then go into Rebels.
I can't wait till you get to Rebels.
Me too. But there's like how many seasons of Clone Wars? Is it 8?
7.
7.
Okay, yeah, that's a while there. But they're half-hour episodes, so you can watch a couple of them.
And I'll send you the chronological order so that way you watch it right.
Yeah, please do, because I know there's a specific order you got to watch them in for it to make more sense. So please, yes.
Yeah, you don't have to totally. You can just watch obviously season 1, 2, 3, whatever. But yeah, I mean, it's best to watch it in story order.
I rather story order, because would you say that's a better way to enjoy it?
I would say so, because there's moments where there's an episode that's out of order and you're like, this character was not alive and now is alive again in this episode. What's going on? And so for less confusion's sake.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go. And then since I have access to all the episodes, might as well watch them in an order that would like not frustrate the hell out of me. Because if that would happen, I'm like, what the hell is going on? And I don't have a lot of hair. What's happening? So yeah, so that's my plan. So yes, Soul, if you don't mind, you could please send that to me, and I will start watching it hopefully sometime soon. I don't want to say when, because I don't want to hold myself to it, but that
In
will be a
2021,
appointment.
we'll watch it.
Yes, sometime in the first half of 2021, I will have gotten through all of
He
Clone
narrowed it
Wars.
even more. Boggs gave you a wide berth, man.
Yeah, but I can, it's they're 22-minute episodes, so I can literally spend a Saturday getting through a majority of a season in one day. So between sometime between the first half of 2021, I will finish Clone Wars. I don't know about Rebels, but I will finish Clone Wars before the first half of the year is over. Put that to I just put it on the internet, so you guys can hold
Just
me to
booked
it.
it in.
All right, so
Okay, so what we're watching. So I'll go if you want, Sol, or do you want to go?
Go ahead.
So I'm not currently watching anything, but what I'm going to watch is, I believe this week is the season finale of Star Trek Discovery. Big Star Trek fan. It's one of my favorite franchises. I haven't watched any of this season. It's on Netflix in the UK, I believe CBS, where you guys are.
yeah,
But
CBS All
obviously I can
Access, yeah.
watch. Yeah, I can just binge it obviously now. I did do that on purpose for a couple of reasons. One, just I wanted to watch them all back to back. Secondly, so Star Trek is going through a very similar thing to Star Wars at the moment, where so cut a long story short, so obviously you have the timeline is original TV series, and then the movies with the original TV series, with Spock and Kirk and all them. Then the Next Generation TV series came straight after that. Then the Next Generation movies came after that. So Star Trek Discovery is set 20 years before the original series. The issue with Star Trek Discovery is that it is very flash, very sci-fi. The effects are great, but because it's set 20 years before that time, they not only does it look obviously too polished, it plays about with the mythology a little bit, and don't want to give too many spoilers away, but obviously it's set 20 years before that timeline. You do get some characters also in Discovery. You get some characters, family members as well, that kind of thing. So, some middle-aged characters, you get them in their prime, kind of thing, age-wise. So, it's great when they introduce, but the things that they do to some of the characters, like a lot of online the community, a lot of reaction is very wishy-washy, a bit like Star Wars. Like they changed. Very, very mixed, yeah. So like they do change. Like for example, let me give you an example. So with Star Wars I'd say in the Rise of Skywalker. So the light speed skipping that they do at the start of the movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? Yeah. So that pretty much contradicts any light speed kind of mythology or theory of how it works, right? You need destination, you need point A, point B. They explain it in the movies, right? And obviously this light speed skipping is just completely ridiculous. Basically, everyone kind of knows that. Well, it looks kind of okay, but it is, in terms of the lore of that world, it's ridiculous. They do the same kind of things in Star Trek Discovery, which contradicts the future series of movies and things like that. So it is tough to watch. Yeah, it's nice to see great effects, things like that, but they do completely contradict not just the themes, the characters as well. Like I obviously don't want to get into it because spoilers and stuff, but they do contradict some of the characters, and it is roll your eye moments, some of it as well. But the show looks great. I do like a lot of the newer characters. There is a lot of them, so that's interesting. Obviously I'm the only one that watches it, so I can't really bounce any ideas off with anyone, but yes, right. So I'm kind of want to watch it, but I'm kind of don't want to watch it as well at the same time, because it's gonna I think it's going to go more into the contradiction stuff. So, yeah. So I'm going to be probably watching that this week.
Well, cool. Let us know what you thought, because I'm kind of a Star Trek fan. Like I used to watch some of the original series. Like it used to come on late at night in New York as a kid growing up. So I watched a lot of the original show. Didn't really watch Next Generation a lot. My brother was huge into that, so I would watch an occasional episode here or there, but not the biggest fan. I was a big fan of the J.J. Abrams movies, so I did like Star Trek 2009 and Into Darkness. Beyond was
same,
but I did like the first two. Well, I did like the first two. The soundtrack is freaking amazing.
Best thing about the movie,
but yeah, so it's interesting to hear you say that, like, cause I'm not going to watch Discovery, but I have heard, even though I haven't watched it, I've heard what you're saying about it, which is some of the fans are not too happy. Same thing with the Picard series as well. So
Yeah, sorry, that's what I forgot to say. Yeah, it's literally the same thing with that. Even though that's set in the future after, Star Trek, the Next Generation movies,
yeah.
it again contradicts a lot of this, particularly character stuff, which is like, yeah, they're tough watches. They look great. You want to see these characters again, that kind of thing. But the things that they do is like, oh my god, like, yes, very tough if you because the best things about Star Trek is they touch on so many things. Some of the storytelling, I know it sounds ridiculous, in Star Trek is very Shakespeare-esque. It's very emotional, very future forward thinking about different cultures, different races, kind of money not being involved in the world, and how you conduct yourself when you meet other people, that kind of, there's so many interesting aspects to it. And for them just to kind of they're the stuff that's built, and for these to contradict some of these things and character journeys that they're, why they've established as a major franchise, it's very frustrating. So I'm probably, like I said, going to watch it, but I'm kind of dreading it a little bit.
Well, I hope you do watch it. Hopefully it it surprises you. Like hopefully it's not as bad as you may
Yeah.
think. So time will tell. Anything you're watching or reading that you want to share or recommend?
So I haven't been watching anything right now, but one thing that I do want to eventually finish is The Dragon Prince on Netflix. I've seen the first season of it when it came out, and then was excited for the second and then third season to come out, but I haven't watched either. These are the showrunners for this show were writers on Avatar: The Last Airbender, something that Dave Filoni was a director on. So uh, bringing back Star Wars in it somehow. And but I want to watch that show and get to the second and third season. I am currently reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V. E. Schwab. I'm let's see. I'm 274 pages in. I got less than 100 pages left. So this will be done probably today or tomorrow. I need to actually start Light of the Jedi because I haven't started it yet, but I have it.
I'm
And
about
then I'm
4 chapters in on that.
reading Future Home of the Living God by Louise Eldridge for a book club, and then I'm reading this comic called Bitch Planet, which is very, very interesting and definitely recommend it. It's
Interesting
kind of
title.
weird, but it's an interesting. It's basically it's a society where like the men rule the society, and the government is kind of called the father, and if the father thinks that the women in the society are not doing well, like are not to what their standards are, they get sent off to a planet. And there's a different name for it, but like the colloquial term for the planet is Bitch Planet. So they're sending all the bad women to Bitch Planet.
Sounds
And
very Handmaid's Tale esque.
yeah, so
Very
it's a
interesting
very
concept.
interesting comic.
I mean, I would recommend so for you at some point finish watching Dexter. I mean, it's
Okay.
obviously it does the series does go downhill
Is it
after you
still on
stop watching.
Netflix?
I don't know. I don't know.
Let me see.
But I would definitely recommend watching it at some point, just because obviously if you don't, the revival series is not going to make a lot of sense.
Right.
But I would definitely recommend you watch that, and recommending you watch Dragon Ball Super. You gotta watch
I will eventually get. I need to finish Hunter x Hunter first before I get to Dragon Ball Super.
because at some point that series is coming back. It's not if, it's just when. So they're gonna continue on with the like. Obviously, there's been two movies, and the series, and that show's coming back. It's just not. Is it coming back this year? Is it coming back next year? It's coming back. So you don't want to
So,
fall too far behind.
according to JustWatch.com, which I use to show me where things are, it says that Dexter is on Prime Video. So I will see if it actually is there, because sometimes Just Watch is like a few weeks behind, and it's like,
It's
oh, it
late,
was
yeah.
there, but it's not there anymore. But I think it's on Prime Video.
Yeah. I mean, I actually bought all the I had all the digital copies from season 1 through 7. So we could jump on a Zoom call or something. You can watch that way. Anyways,
You watch along on Prime, can't you?
Yeah, it is. It's
sorry.
on Prime.
Oh,
You can do
it
like a
is
what?
now.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well then, yeah.
There you
Double
At some
check. It's on
point,
Prime, so I got it.
yeah. So at some point, I think it is what it is. But you should definitely finish watching Dexter, just so that when the revival series comes back, you'll be fully on board. And then I know Boggs is probably gonna watch that at some point too, right, Boggs?
Sure. I'll add it to the
Sean
list.
just gave you homework.
Like just as much as you're going to watch Clone Wars, I'll watch at some point this year. I'll watch.
Yeah.
Dexter
So
at some point.
yeah, you don't have to,
2021.
yeah, at some point 2021, because the show will come back and some maybe because it's not a very hard show to produce. So I unless they run into production problems with COVID, I don't see them running into much them having a lot of post work that they have to do. So they can easily shoot it all this year and they can premiere late 2021. So at some point, I think you should watch it. Not only because we're going to talk about on the channel, but I just think it's a really good show regardless anyway. So, especially the first 4 seasons. So, yay, Dexter. So cool. So that's kind of what we're recommending to each other. So before we wrap up, kind of what's coming up on the channel. So obviously, our reviews for WandaVision will take up a lot of what we talk about during Pop Talk next week. So any news or anything in pop culture that comes out will mostly get put on the side, and we'll focus mostly on covering WandaVision going forward, and then right into the Falcon and Winter Soldier, and then Loki. So it's gonna be a lot of Disney Marvel stuff that we're gonna be discussing weekly here. Obviously, Boggs and Colin are going to continue doing We Have the High Ground. We're focusing on Star Wars. Anything that you want to start promoting of episodes that you think about doing in the future, Boggs?
Yeah, so I think this week's Soul should be on this week. Also, I think we ideally, if we all finish the High Republic book, like Jedi, also thinking about, we need to nail it down with Colin, but I think we're going to do also rank our top 5 books or recommended books in the Star Wars kind of canon or legends, whatever. But yeah, that's just the regular thing. I mean, we kind of like doing the whole rankings thing, so I'm going to keep that up. But nothing's set in stone after the books, so yeah, just look out for that. So it'll be fun no matter what.
Yeah, I do think rankings are a good way for you guys to kind of, for lack of a better word, tie yourselves over until the Bad Batch comes out. Because then I know then you guys will start focusing specifically on that. So, and then that's another thing I gotta watch. But then should I wait to watch that? Because I know the Bad Batch kind of feeds into Rebels or Clone Wars.
No, so Bad Batch is pretty much a continuation from season 7 of the Clone Wars. So
Yeah,
okay,
so
so
watch Clone Wars first.
So I have to wait to watch that. Okay, so I can't watch you guys' episodes when we talk about that. But yeah, I do like that, and then obviously, Soul will join you guys next week or this week, and then she'll be on every other week talking about that book. Yay! And then obviously we'll also be talking about on Pop Talk all the things I mentioned, as well as just any other news that breaks. So you guys can look forward to that on the channel. And then obviously we also announced that we're bringing over the Ultimate Schmodown show onto the channel. The first episode will drop on the 22nd of this month. So if you guys don't know what the hell that is, the Schmodown is a movie trivia show on YouTube that's mixed with movie trivia and wrestling storyline elements. So the matches are real, storylines are written. It's something that we're all a fan of, and that's kind of what brought us all together. So we had it the Ultimate Schmodown show, just a reaction show where we talk about the matches. We've had guests on from that are the competitors on, some people behind the scenes of the show. So we're moving. It has its own YouTube channel, but we're actually just bringing that show underneath this banner so they can get a little bit more exposure. So Boggs and Colin and John Barr are the hosts on that, as well as Soul is going to start being a host on that show as well. So you can look forward to seeing that on the channel as well as all the other stuff we're doing. So I'm excited to have the Ultimate Showdown show on the channel. Boggs, excitement level bringing that show over here?
Yeah, definitely. So we've kind of kept it separate for a while. Now we're bringing it together. Yeah, so obviously you guys who don't watch the Showdown, so weigh in. So yes, it's definitely interesting kind of reaction and how many people are going to watch it, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, obviously if that's not your thing as well, that's fair enough. Just obviously make sure you watch the Pop Talk and we have the high round stuff. But yeah, it's definitely a cool thing. The trivia stuff that we do react to and stuff. So yes, give it a try.
Yeah. Soul, any thoughts about what's coming up on the channel?
I'm just excited to have a place to talk Schmodown, because typically when I'm talking Schmodown, that's behind the scenes with other friends. So now just having a place to actually come in and talk about Schmodown and talk about all of our theories of what's going to happen in the season and just talk about our favorite players and our favorite factions, swag, swag, drip, drip. What did I say? I didn't say anything.
I didn't hear. Say again. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready for some Schmodown talk.
And also our Twitter page will be running soon.
So I'm excited to have you guys talk about it, and then I just lurk behind the scenes and laugh and maybe I will pop in more on that because obviously I'm a fan of Schmodown too. So we'll see how that goes. No promises because you guys had a rhythm, and then now we're adding soul in. So I probably will drop in maybe once in a while. Maybe when the big matches come through.
Say the word, Sean.
Word. Anyways, so that's the episode for the week. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like and subscribe or comment if you haven't. We really appreciate it. Thank you for all the support you've been giving the channel as we've kind of transitioned to what the channel was to what it is now. So appreciate the love that and support. Bogz, besides here, anywhere else can people find you?
Yeah, no, just really here, to be honest, and catch us on the Ultimate Showdown show, until that moves over, of course. Catch us on We Have the High Ground. Catch me on the Pop Talk show as well. Also, I did notice something as well that I think I mentioned a few weeks ago, that it seems to, during a certain period, about 2 weeks ago, the subscriber count went down, not just on us, on a lot of YouTubers. So I think we went down from like 10.8 to 10.5 in a 10.4 in a day. So and I did see a lot of other streamers had the same issue around the same kind of few days. So if you haven't already, if YouTube, sometimes it does that kind of weird stuff. So if you haven't already, obviously subscribe or resubscribe. Just check your account with us. But yeah, it's catch me here, and yeah, see you next week.
All right, Soul.
You can find me at SoulGovan on Twitter, at soul.k.govan on Instagram. You can find me here. And remember to like and subscribe, and also leave a comment. What are your WandaVision's predictions for this coming Friday? So let us know down in the comments below.
Absolutely, because that show is going to be prime viewing for the next, I guess, now 8 weeks, even though 9 episodes. So yeah, so we'll definitely cover that on the channel. You can find me here just on the channel, just doing stuff, but anyways, so again, yeah, like Bogz said and Soul said, comment below, like, if you haven't subscribed, that's great too, and just check out all the stuff that we're doing. We're gonna try to see if we can get Alex to come back. She's been busy. I know some people were asking about her, so she's got her own things going on, but I'm doing my best to try to help her come back into the fold, even if it's once in a while. So we'll see how things progress. But anyways, until then, so we'll see you guys. You can see me next time on Pop Talk. You can see Soul and Bogz and Colin next time on We Have the High Ground. And then at some point on the 22nd, we will premiere the Ultimate Schmodown show on the channel. So then you can see that as well. So for Bogz, for Soul, for myself, thank you for watching, and then we'll see you next week to talk more about WandaVision. Take care, guys. Bye.
It's not.